Okay, let's take a moment to look here at a few different ways that you can find a slope when you've got a table. So, really what we're doing when we've got a table, when we've got points, when we've got a graph, anything, is we're finding differences in the y values, the differences in the x values. So, we've called that rise over run, we've called that a horizontal change versus a vertical change. You can also think of it as a change in y or a change in x. And remember, when you got a triangle like that for y and a triangle x, that little triangle just means that there's a change. So change in y versus change in x. That's your math language for people that don't like to write out full sentences. Your math guys always find a shorter way to write things out. So looking at this table, if I just need to find a change in x and a change in y, I can look from one point to the other, just like this, and say, well, if I'm going from -6 to -3, I'm going up 3. So I'd say plus 3. And if I'm going from -19 to -10, I'm going up, or to the right, 9. And then that's going to give me my slope. So just remember that we always do y over x. So y on top, x on bottom, or the rise on top, the run on the bottom, which would be +9 over +3, which would divide down or simplify down to just be +3. Okay? You can also notice that if I do that from 0 to 3 and -1 to 8, it works out the same. But if I have one where it skips, so say I go from -3 to 3, that would be going up 6. And if I go from -10 to 8, that would be going up 18. And same thing, it still works out in the same ratio. If I do 18 divided by 6, I end up with the +3. Next is I can just use this to get 2 points and plug it into my slope formula. I'm doing basically the same thing as the ordered pairs. I'm just thinking of these as ordered pairs like that. So remember, my slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So on this I would do, and we can use whichever one to start. I'm going to start with the 0 and call that my y2, and my x2, which makes the other 2 points my x1 and x2, or x1 and y1. So on the top for my y values, be 0 minus 4, and then I'd have on the bottom 0 minus a -6. Remember, if I'm subtracting a negative, 2 negatives go together to make a positive. So that would give me a -4 over +6, which would just simplify down and give me -2 over 3. So you got a few different ways that you can use a chart to find this. Just remember, when you're looking at this, this would be a pretty steep positive slope, as a slope of 3, because you go up 3 over 1 every time. This one would be kind of even a little bit lower slope, because I'm going up 2 over 3 each time, or down 2 over 3, because it's a negative slope on that. So that goes over how to use a chart or a table to figure out your slope.